Hello again to all of you cinemaniacs out there, and welcome back to Arrow Senior Living's Marvel Cinematic Universe Weekend Movie Marathon Primer Series. My name is Aaron Neeson, Arrow's Visual Media Director, and I'm your guide through this marathon, preparing you for the movies you are going to be enjoying with reminders and tips on important events and characters you will be seeing. Today, we are laying the groundwork for Spider-Man: No Way Home, the 27th movie we are watching in this series. We just watched Eternals, where we saw Cersei and the Eternals battle against the Deviants and each other to save the Earth from the emergence of a new Celestial, which would destroy the planet and everything on it. The Eternals had to battle against their most powerful member, Icarus, as well as the evolved deviant Crow to stop the emergence. They were able to get the upper hand and combine as the Unimind to give Cersei enough power to transform the new Celestial, Tiamat, into stone. This stopped the emergence, saving the planet. Crow was defeated, Icarus was overcome with guilt and flew into the sun. Sprite was turned into a human so she could age and live her life, and several of the Eternals boarded the Domo to find other Eternals and warn them of emergences. The Eternals who remained on Earth went back to their lives, but were gathered up by the celestial Ereshkigal, who planned to use their memories to judge if humanity is worth saving. In a credit scene, we also met the Eternal Eros, who claims to be the brother of Thanos. And we saw Dane Whitman contemplating the Ebony Blade, with a voice questioning if he is ready to wield it. I really hope that you enjoyed Eternals. I appreciate its mythical science fiction tone, and I love the grand scale of all the events. I think the Eternals and Celestials are fascinating, and I'd love to see some of our more down-to-earth heroes interact and work with them in the future. But speaking of down-to-earth heroes, now it is time to move on to the next movie in our marathon, Spider-Man: No Way Home. So, what do you need to know for this one? Well, let's go over some characters and events you need to keep in mind for this film. No spoilers yet. I promise to warn you before we talk about those. Though, you should know that this movie is hard to prepare you for without getting into spoilers. So, in this video, I will break things into 3 parts. We'll have our no spoiler section first. Then we will move into our light spoiler section, where I will tell you about things that will factor into the plot without talking about the plot. Then, finally, we will talk about the plot itself in the last section, where there will be lots of spoilers. No spoiler section is starting now. So first up, characters. We have our titular character, Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, a teen with super spider powers whose secret identity has been exposed to the world by Mysterio. Michelle Jones Watson, or MJ, an intelligent classmate of Peter's who figured out Peter's secret identity and is Peter's girlfriend. Ned Leeds, Peter's best friend. May Parker, Peter's aunt and only living family. Stephen Strange, a powerful sorcerer and guardian of the New York City Sanctum Sanctorum. And Happy Hogan, head of Stark Security and friend to Peter. So now we're going to talk a little bit about other characters and some things that play into the plot. So the second section with light spoilers begins here. Turn this off if you'd like to go in without any sort of spoilers. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about some things that will spoil events a little bit. We are also going to meet Spider-Man characters from other Spider-Man movies outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, meaning the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. So we will meet both of those Spider-Man characters, also named Peter Parker. We will also meet Dr. Otto Octavius, or Dr. Octopus, a villain from the Maguire movies with powerful mechanical tentacles grafted to his body. Norman Osborn, aka Green Goblin, a billionaire who injected himself with a super soldier serum that drove him insane. Also from the Maguire movies. Kurt Connors, aka the Lizard, a scientist who was transformed into a massive lizard creature through gene manipulation. He's from the Garfield movies. Max Dillon, aka Electro, a villain with electric powers from the Garfield movies. Flint Marko, aka Sandman, a villain who can turn into and manipulate sand from the Maguire movies. Okay, so that was the light spoiler stuff. Now we're going to talk about plot, so there will be even more spoilers to come. If you've gotten your fill and are ready to watch the movie, turn this off now and enjoy the show. Okay, everyone here is good with some plot points being spoiled, right? Because some spoilers are imminent. After Mysterio frames Peter for his murder and reveals his secret identity, Peter is arrested. Lawyer Matt Murdock, who is also the superhero Daredevil, though that doesn't come into play here, gets the charges against him dropped, but Peter's life is still completely upended by the revelation. Peter seeks out Doctor Strange, hoping that he is somehow able to help. Doctor Strange begins a spell that will make everyone forget that Peter is Spider-Man, but it gets corrupted when Peter continues to ask for small changes. Strange contains the corrupted spell, and Peter departs. Peter is then attacked by Dr. Octopus, who seems to know his secret identity. Peter stops him, and they are whisked away by Doctor Strange just as the Green Goblin arrives and attacks. Strange explains that the corrupted spell summoned people from other universes within the multiverse who know Spider-Man's identity, and he sends Peter and his friends to locate and bring in the others. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn wrestles control away from the Green Goblin and seeks help from May and Peter. While the villains are discussing their battles with Spider-Man, some of them realize they were pulled away from their universes just before their deaths. Doctor Strange is ready to send them all back where they came from, but Peter recognizes that this would be a death sentence and argues that they should help the villains change their destinies. When Strange refuses, Peter traps him in the mirror dimension. Peter then uses Stark technology to begin working on cures to their conditions. Before he can cure anyone, though, the Goblin persona retakes control and betrays everyone, making the other villains run to ground as the Green Goblin battles Spider-Man before escaping. Meanwhile, Ned and MJ use one of Doctor Strange's sling rings to open portals, trying to find Peter. They inadvertently open portals to other dimensions, though, and find those dimensions Peter Parkers, bringing them in from their universes. Now the three Peters, MJ, and Ned have to track down the villains, give them the cure, and send them back to their universes before the barriers between universes break down. And that is where I'm going to stop. I hope that this all isn't too confusing for you. Anyone who has watched the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies should be in good shape, but I hope that this helps you follow the story. I warned you a couple videos ago that the multiverse would be coming into play sooner than later, and here we are. Fun bit of trivia. Alternate timelines and different realities are nothing new for comic characters. One of the first popular instances of the multiverse in comics happened in 1961's The Flash, number 123, in a story called The Flash of Two Worlds. And for Spider-Man, back in the 1990s, the Spider-Man animated series had the Spider Wars, where many different versions of Spider-Man teamed up to save the multiverse. And more recently, the animated Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse movies celebrate the zaniness of the multiverse by having all sorts of different versions of Spider-Man sharing the screen, including Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Ham, and many, many, many more. I'm very excited for you all to enjoy Spider-Man No Way Home. It's a thrilling film that celebrates all the Spider-Man movies that came before it, and I could watch the three Peter Parkers interact on screen all day long. We'll be back soon with another primer for the next movie in our marathon, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Until next time.